Live we are.
Live
Hello
we are.
guys.
Day 2 of the Ashes. Fifth test between England and Australia.
Fifth and final.
Fifth and final. And potentially.
You're gonna miss this ODI series, huh?
I will miss the Ashes because we could potentially today, we could see the last bit of action in the Ashes because Australia may hold the edge. But remember, the weather in southeast London, SE, is not that great.
But it's clear as of now.
Today you will see.
Yeah, exactly. It's clear as of now. The days ahead look murky.
But for
Very.
tomorrow it's unsure.
Very, yes. 80% chances of rain on all the days.
That's too much.
So maybe one session. Like how we saw in Manchester.
Yeah.
And that's why whatever happened on day 1, I think Australia hold
And like we saw day 4 Port of Spain.
day 4 Port of Spain.
Right.
Yep. Imagine all the 3 days when day 4 was abandoned, even in Manchester day 5 was abandoned, day 2 of Sri Lanka Pakistan
Was abandoned. Yes.
We only saw 10 overs across 3 days in the test match arena. So today if you look at the scoreline, you'll say okay, it's advantage Australia, 283 England all out, scoring at 5 runs per over. That was quicker even than the ODI that happened yesterday. Okay, which lasted all of 46 overs.
That's half its duration. Stipulated.
Not even half.
Less than half its stipulated duration.
You did not even finish one complete innings.
That's what.
50 overs.
That
was how bad it is. But England scoring at 5.07 and Australia responding with 61 for 1, trailing by 222. David Warner was out, but don't worry, he didn't fall to Stuart
Broad. It was Chris
Thankfully.
Vokes. Chris Vokes this time.
Some records should not be broken. So if he gets out in the next innings, then he'll be 18. But that's about it. Because David Warner is not going to play any international cricket from February 2024.
Yes.
So this probably was the last time we saw Warner in the Ashes.
Right.
In the Ashes, yes, but yes, that Pakistan series is where they're
because he's not going to play the West Indies too. Because
Yeah.
West Indies are going to come to Australia again. Pakistan are going to come. And February or I think the New Year's test. January 2024, he calls it quits. From test cricket. So if I have to look at it, Ashes in England, he would never have ticked that one thing that really matters, a century. He never got 100.
He averages 25 over there, yeah. 25
which
only.
is the second worst.
Pat Cummins averages more over there.
Which is the second worst for David Warner. The worst where he averages is India. 22. So these are the two things that David Warner will probably have a lot of regret about because he might be part of an Ashes winning team. But he would never have scored a century in England.
That's fine. There's not a lot of people out there who can look back and say, I had the perfect career. At times there are certain hits, there are more misses at times. But in his case, yes, he'll go back saying that, okay, there were things and there were some on-field things as well he won't be proud of.
Yeah.
But having said that, a lot to be proud of as well.
Indeed. So, but let us talk about England, okay? That kind of fast start that they gave, okay? Harry Brook in particular. I think after a long time, he finally came good in this series.
But 2 reprieves.
Yes. We'll talk about the reprieve later because 5 catches were dropped. Yes.
In totality.
Yeah, Alex Carey dropped Harry Brook on 5 and he went on to make 80 more runs.
85. Yeah. Oh yeah.
80 more
80
runs.
more
So,
runs.
yes, I don't know what happened with Australia. Like they were so lax on the field. Normally you don't see it. They are pretty good.
One thing I've seen with Australia, and it started from that third test, which they won,
Which they lost.
Which they lost. Sorry.
Leeds.
And I saw that every time England came hard at them, the body language of the players changed, of the captain changed, and that's something they couldn't really bear the assault of the Englishman. That's something that, by the way, it's easier said, but if Australia, the World Test champions, cannot soak in that pressure, that kind of assault, you just wonder at times what will happen to the other nations.
But which team has successfully borne the onslaught of Bazball? India couldn't defend 378.
But that was just one test.
But still, it was a start.
One test.
New Zealand couldn't take 3.
See,
Pakistan couldn't take 3. Here you've seen because Australia's
and Pakistan
bowlers,
was in Pakistan.
Australia's bowlers stepped up in the 2 tests and also inspired batting from the Australians. Smart batting. Something that England didn't have in the first 2 tests. But yet, morally, this is we are echoing the England sentiment. Oh, morally we are up 4-0, we are winning 5-0. They are winning even this test also. Because, I mean, who can say in their own country that one of the journalists
I
would go
heard
as far
this
as
is
saying, don't let these cheated convicts win.
yeah.
Wait, when did they cheat?
But I've been reading about the moral victory as well on social media. Yes.
Yeah, they're final up in the
Yes,
Ashes.
they
It's a
say
clean
so.
sweep.
They say so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as far as I'm saying, I think the only team that has withstood the onslaught of Bazball is Australia.
Yeah.
Whatever you will look at it. The scoreline does not lie. Because one of the journalists asked Pat Cummins, I think, are you struggling for momentum heading into Manchester? He said, no, why? Because England have won at Leeds. No, 2-1.
It's still 2-1. Exactly.
Absolutely.
I think the
They're
exact
happy
question
about
was,
that.
are there any nerves going into the match? I said, no, it's still 2-1.
Still 2-1.
Yeah.
And remember, England missed a golden chance in Manchester.
But they did the bit.
They tried their level best, but then they didn't declare earlier when they should have. I mean, when Johnny Bairstow just crossed 50, what was the need for him to try for 100? Declare, you got another 8-10 overs. Who knows? Khwaja, Warner, and all could have been easily dismissed in that period. Labuschagne could have been dismissed. And they didn't make any.
I won't be
goals.
very critical of that declaration though. The declaration in Edgbaston is up for all criticism, but not maybe the one in Manchester.
251? Is that what they scored?
281, I guess.
Here in Oval, 283. You're
I think
talking at the
she's
Oval
talking
or-
about the lead.
Lead one.
The
the Leeds one.
The lead in Manchester is what she's
The
talking
lead in
281,
Manchester was
no?
275.
Oh,
275.
275 was the lead in Old Trafford. So, I think where you might have, we can have a where, as usual, I forget to
Divine intervention.
divine intervention. Indeed, that's what England will need because Australia were shelling catches, but you saw some brilliant bowling from Stark. I think so far the ball of the series.
The one to Stokes.
The 1-2 Stokes.
But I'll tell you what was interesting about Stark yesterday was the comeback that he made. You know, initially, and he didn't bowl particularly well to Ben Duckett.
Yeah.
He was whacked away for a couple of boundaries on the leg side and he couldn't control the swing. He was one of the 2 bowlers who couldn't actually get control of the swing yesterday. But then once he did, that ripper. Absolute ripper.
Angling in on
Classic
middle.
And the beauty about that ball, and wish we had one here, but the beauty about that ball, you know, it was right on the seam. The moment it hit the seam, it straightened.
Yeah.
And it had the curve. So the ball had it was angling outside, but instead of going out, instead of that outswinger, it hit the seam, it straightened.
Yeah.
Ben Stokes, no chance.
Ben Stokes, no chance. And that's why Hazelwood and Stark, I think, were the standouts yesterday.
Yes.
Especially Stark. Remember, even in the World Test Championship final, the same venue, he was the one who leaked runs up plenty.
Yeah.
But when he got going, that bouncer, the swing, unplayable. So, I would say that England, again, look at it. They tried. But then you lose 283. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's England's Bazball approach. I think smart situational awareness is missing in Bazball. Can they afford to play like this on a sandpit when they come to India? I don't think so.
But
Not
I
at
think
all.
they will.
They will. Then
You
they
know,
will be all out for 115, 20
because
overs.
there's been way too many shades of flamboyance and buoyance also, let's say, in this side.
Yep.
You know, they are a buoyant side at the moment. They're not hiding away from the fact that, you know, this is our brand of cricket and come what may we're going to play. Yes, there were some tweaks along the way in this Ashes as well. They had to slow down at times, but predominantly they were the aggressors always.
Yes, they were the aggressors. They were expected to be the aggressors. Because 8 years you hadn't won the urn.
Yeah.
Because you last won in 2015. You were hammered 4-0 in both series in Australia.
Every time you've gone to Australia, you've been hammered. Last one was 4-0 or 4-1?
4-0.
Yeah.
You haven't won since
The last
2010,
one was otherwise it was 4-0, right?
13-14 final,
Yeah.
17-18 4-0, 21-22 was 4-0. So, you haven't won, you have lost 13 out of 15 tests in Australia. So, there is no contest there whatsoever. In England, you have a contest. But in 2019, 2-2. That to a very weak Australian team, if I may add. Because
Yes, the ban.
Tim Payne was the captain.
Captain.
Then Steve Smith came back along with David Warner. Warner just 95 runs in 6 innings. Marcus Harris also failed.
Yeah.
But it was one
Finch was
Superman.
also there in the setup, if I'm not
No,
wrong.
Finch wasn't there. It took one Superman to ensure Australia were 2-2, and that was Steve Smith. 4 matches, 774 runs. The greatest Ashes feat this decade. So that is why England look at it, 250 for 7 at 50. If we have to look at it, situational awareness, like what they played at Leeds, that was better.
Yeah.
They knew the situation. Lords, okay, they kind of got themselves into that hole themselves. Those 2 collapses. Then Ben Stokes had to play a knock of 155, which was the best knock of the Ashes in 2023 so far.
Yes.
Best knock. I mean,
Yes.
by the end
Answer.
of the series, if you have to look at it, Stokes' 155 is number 1.
Second, I would probably rate Labuschagne's 100.
Yes, it's helped them save the Ashes. Third, I would look at Cummins' knock at Edgbaston.
Oh yes.
If Cummins hadn't played that, Australia would have been 2-1 down.
Absolutely.
That is why. So, I have a feeling this is the day that England are going to go all out for it. But at the same time, I feel Australia hold the edge. Labuschagne
They
especially.
do. I don't think there's any doubt in that.
Labuschagne in particular, with that century, he's finally now in that zone.
Yeah.
And remember, we've got the king of the Oval coming next up, Steve Smith, who's got 4 centuries at the Oval, if I'm not mistaken. 13, 15. No, this is the 3 centuries, sorry. ICC WTC final.
Fine.
So 300s. Plus he got an 80 in the 2019 test, if I'm not mistaken. So Smith and the Oval, I mean, that this venue made him the greatest. Now he's at a different level.
The
already.
Lord's double 100.
Yeah, but I think the Oval 100 in 2013, it gave him the feeling that, okay, I belong at the highest level. Remember, it was a wretched series for Australia. 3-0 down, heading into the Oval, nothing to play for. Watson hit 176, but Steve Smith 138. And then every series after that, except for 21-22,
Yeah.
he's hit a century for Australia in the Ashes. That is the beauty of Steve Smith, and that is why today we may see the last bit of the action in this Ashes. After that, 3 days there is rain predicted.
So it'll be stop-start.
Miracle of miracles. The weather forecasts have been right in England.
Yes.
Normally they are way off the mark. Today you will see action. Today might be the last bit of action that you see. Whole day, I mean without any stoppages. But tomorrow onwards, prepare yourself for some very lengthy rain delays, and England might lose a series to Australia for the first time in 22 years at home. 2001, that was the last they had won. And since then, Australia came close in 2005.
Of course.
Inspired England. 2009 lost at this very venue. 2013 one-sided to the core. 2015 also you lost it before you came to the Oval. 3-1 you had already lost. 2019 you lost at the Oval, but you had already retained the Ashes.
Ashes.
So can we take some comments if there are any, Shivam? Let's take some comments and let's see
Yeah. And then we
who
can
is going to
wrap it
hold
up.
the edge.
Let's see if our family members in fact agree with our opinion.
Yeah, Anshu is saying, okay, you talk about Murli record, but one record that can never be touched is Ricky Ponting 108 test wins. Yes, he was part of 108 test wins in his 164 test career. I mean, I don't think anybody is getting that.
Getting that.
That I think I agree.
See, most test records, I think, with that Sachin, Sangakkara and Ponting era, all those records which were established in test cricket, I think because now you're looking at a new era altogether where T20 cricket has taken precedence. So I don't think many of those records will ever now be touched.
It won't be. Yeah, so I think, yeah.
And the same goes for ODI cricket as well. Because
If Kohli can maintain 3 to 4 years of consistency, I think he has a chance.
but he'd probably be the last.
He might be. But I think Tendulkar's record has not been broken in test matches. Tests.
200 tests not happening.
Yeah, 200 tests not happening.
59 to 1 not happening.
51 test hundreds not happening. Kohli is 29.
29. Yeah.
He's under 20.
21.
22 to level.
Yeah.
And 23 to get past. 4-5 years of Kohli, 23 test
Smith is 31.
32.
32.
Wow.
No one is breaking that record.
Yeah. 20 centuries
Yeah.
for Smith as
That
well.
too in 4 years.
Root will also need another 22, I believe. He's also got
I think
30.
Root might be the closest because he's got a lot more in his career to play for. He's, I think, the youngest among the Fab Four, if I'm not mistaken. Joe Root. So that's why lot of things. Yeah, Anshu, I agree. I don't think even Ponting's 108 test wins might ever be broken.
Yeah.
And Soham Chatterjee, what's the name of the gentleman who's wearing a white t-shirt? He's not wearing a white t-shirt. He's wearing
It
a
just
pink
appears
one.
white.
Yeah. So that is why it is
Mohit Sharma.
Mohit Sharma, yes. Harshita Ahuja, yeah. We really haven't seen England in India. Akash Bharadwaj is saying, we haven't seen England in India, or say, then let's judge Bazball.
Was he saying? Sorry, Akash is that?
Akash is saying, okay, but then what if they do well in India, then Bazball? Then I think we may have to give it some respect.
You will have to.
It's difficult though, isn't it? With the conditions that we have in India, it's very difficult to play that sort of fast.
I think we were saying that
cricket.
against Australia as well, ahead of the Ashes, that it's Australia of all teams. Maybe they'll have to recalibrate, they'll have to tweak, make some changes. They've not done that, and I don't think this English side is in any mood to be making any sort of changes. I think come with this hard approach again when they come to India next year. 5 matches, so it'll be interesting. It's actually going to be a very good test of what Bazball is all about, and yes, they've withstood one such test. I would say they've been challenging. It's not like Bazball has been defeated hands down. They've been challenging. So Bazball, there is something about it that it's challenged the World Test champions as well. Of course, in India, the challenge is going to be much interesting, much more interesting.
See, where are the venues that England are playing? India. Where are they playing? Vizag and Hyderabad.
Vizag is number 1.
Yeah. Hyderabad is other.
Rajkot also you're playing.
Rajkot. Then I think you're playing 2 more where? Rajasthan, I can't
there is Dharamsala as well, I think.
Dharamshala? Okay,
Yes.
that is one area where they can.
No, I think that was Dharamshala was for Afghanistan last T20.
We'll just have it. But I think the
Yeah,
venues there won't allow you to play.
Yeah, one was Nagpur as well.
Nagpur. You can't play basketball in those places.
So
I'm
there was
sorry.
Nagpur, I remember, there's Rajkot. Mohali is there in the World Cup schedule, right?
No, Mohali is not.
Dharamshala is.
Yeah.
Dharamshala.
So it was Mohali then for one of the test matches.
Oh, can't play basketball in all those. So that's why. Okay, Akash Bharadwaj saying your honest opinion. If England make it 2-2, then who's the winner? For me, it's England. Sorry, boss, it's Australia. You had to remember, you had to play with 12 people. England played with 12 people, 11 players plus their media and their fans. And I'll be doing a special video on why fan behavior yet again in England is a poor example. I mean,
Yeah.
I will reveal what happened in the post-match ceremony when Ricky Ponting was doing an analysis. So he was spelled.
No, even the way Steve Smith was treated when the series was started, we saw you cry on telly. There was the
Yeah.
chant ringing around the stadium.
Yep.
That's
He did though sort of react to it. There was this video going
Yeah.
around of him interacting with the fans. We're not sure what was
close to the
said.
side screen.
Yeah. But that was sort of like.
That was later. It
below
wasn't
the
in that
belt.
test match. That was later on. I think it was in the 3rd test match.
No, that chant was going on throughout.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that chant first emerged in the 1st test match,
Yeah.
but that reaction of his came in the 3rd
Yes,
test match,
yes.
if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shobha Sutar saying England team just trying to destroy the natural condition of pitches. Swinging, seaming pitches are not present in England. The value of knocks played there have not any significance because the testing.
Could not, whatever.
The last point is there, but then England.
Couldn't.
I think they have destroyed the basic condition of the pitch also. I mean, swing, seam, whatever was your strength. Where are the next crop of bowlers going to come up then? Maybe now Mark Wood can step up because on flat conditions, extreme pace can work. So
See, when James Anderson says that if these are the kind of pitches you're going to be dishing out, I'm done with the Ashes. So
And again,
that sums it up.
Anderson hasn't had that much of impact whenever he bowled.
Yeah,
I think you're going to see an announcement from Jimmy after
You could.
you could. Yeah.
day 5. I think.
Even though there was one interview that he had during the course of the
Yeah.
Ashes when he didn't play, for those 2 test matches. He did say that he has no intentions, he still wants to play, he thinks he's intense enough to be playing test cricket, and he doesn't have retirement on his mind, but we'll see.
But how long can he prolong his career? What impact could he have if England, keep dishing out these pitches?
He has no chance then, because remember, he's about 10 away from 700.
Yeah.
I don't know.
More than 10, no? 180.
He's 689, I guess. He's 689 at this point. 700, he needs about 11 or so. So, not happening.
Also, 200, by the way, was within his reach, let's
I don't
say.
think it's
But again, that's also 184, if I'm not wrong. 185.
Yeah, I think he'll end with
4
184.
maybe.
I guess that's it. He's not doing that. But Anshu Mishra says Smith can cross 51 test centuries, just 34 years. If he had not missed those 8 to 10 tests due to a ban, Cook had the chance. He can, and if ABD can't quite early, he had a chance to break ODI record as 10k runs in 33 years. But yeah, normally Aussies don't play until 39-40.
Yeah.
35-36, that's about
Yeah.
it. I think Smith, 2 more years, I think he would want to quit after the 25-26 Ashes. I think.
Perhaps.
Because, see, 25, if they make it to the final, Australia will be defending champions. You end the WTC cycle, play the Ashes at home. That's it.
And you're done.
You are done. Okay. Is it
And with that,
Akash Bharadwaj, last question after
Alright.
that. Who is the best captain in this era for all you guys? Is it Pat, Virat, Stokes, Kane? Ooh, tough one.
very tough.
Very tough.
Very
Yeah.
tough.
I think we'll have to think about that.
I haven't got to think. But then just, if you want to just say now before we end, who's it?
Yeah.
Shivam says Kane.
Shivam, our dear producer, says Kane. They were world test champions over there.
Yeah.
The other turned the team around. Kane, obviously, that silent workhorse, always.
I mean, my bias is always to the Kiwis. So.
Stokes also with the turnaround that he's done. By the way, I think.
Except that Kiwi. Except that Kiwi. I would say Kane. For me, it's Kane. For what he's done for New Zealand cricket. Because he carried the legacy that Brendan McCullum left behind. Because MS Dhoni left behind a massive legacy, you wanted Virat also to replicate that. Virat 90% did it. The 10% he couldn't do it was in the IC sequence. But otherwise 90% of it.
But I think he's talking about tests.
Tests.
Yeah.
Kane.
I think I'll put Virat over there. Because of not just
a bad
his.
shout at all.
Because not just because of his personal achievements, let's say, as a test player and the way he transformed and he became the absolute GOAT out there, arguably, but also because of what he instilled in this team as well. He made sure that he has 4 seamers. He made it a habit that you pick 20 wickets off the opposition, not just in India, but when you go to Australia, that team did it not once but twice. That's a rich legacy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't there after.
He wasn't there after Adelaide.
Again, see, it's about instilling that psyche. It's about instilling that aggression as well in the side.
But again, his 2 biggest stumbling blocks never won in South Africa.
Yeah.
That I think hurt him very badly because India could have won.
And came the resignation then.
Yeah.
But stats aside, I think the things that Virat Kohli has done for Test cricket as a captain, those you
Brilliant.
can't overlook that.
I mean, imagine in his era we had 4 fast bowlers.
Yeah.
In India, when did you ever think that we would have 4 fast bowlers?
Yeah.
He made Test cricket entertaining again for the Indian cricket fans.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, 2 Virat. My bias is obviously for Kane Williamson.
Yeah.
He's with you. Shivam
so
says
2.
So it's even Stevens.
It's 2-2. We are split
It's
at this
2-2.
point. So yeah.
Kane beat Virat in.
World Test Championship final.
That's fine.
True.
Yep. So
Chalo,
let's
on
see
that.
how. But I think play has not.
No. It's about to start now.
3
It's about to
slips
start.
and Jimmy is about to bowl now.
Jimmy with the ball.
Yep, let's see how many inroads he can make because
Hmm.
if England want to have some nostalgia, maybe one of these old war horses would want to get some wickets.
Yeah.
Stuart Broad, and in fact, Broad has been outstanding in the series. Of course, he's gotten 1 wicket easily.
And by the way, given the rain prediction that you shared with all of us, it could be the last time you see James Anderson bowl in Test cricket.
Yeah.
Possibly the last Test Ashes even for Usman Khwaja.
England may not come back to bowl.
Yep. No one picked Pat, but then Pat has a very small sample size, Akash. He won the World Test Championship, agreed. He won in Pakistan, but then.
But I like the guy. I must say, I like the guy.
Yeah, he is. So we'll be back for more content. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis. Tap that bell icon so when we go live from me, Harshit and Gargi. It's bye-bye. See you soon with a lot more stories.